Let's have our lecture video in Engineering Economics with the topic Economic Study Methods. In this video, we will have present work analysis, annual work analysis, and the rate of return or ROR method. An engineering project or alternative is formulated to make or purchase a product, to develop a process, or to provide a service with specified results. An engineering economic analysis evaluates cash flow estimates for parameters such as initial cost, annual cost, and revenues, non-recurring costs, and possible salvage value over an estimated useful life of the product, process, or service. However, most engineering and business projects can be accomplished by more than one method or alternative. The alternatives that requires the minimum investment of capital and will produce satisfactory functional result will always be used unless there are definite reasons why an alternative requiring a larger investment should be adopted. There are several methods of comparing alternatives, but only 5 methods or patterns will be discussed in this chapter. Now, it talks about 5 methods, but the first 3 methods, the present work analysis, the annual work analysis, and the rate of return on additional investment analysis will be discussed in this video. Or we will solve the sample problems also in this video. Now, as for the benefit cost analysis and the break-even and payback analysis, that will be in the next video. Now, the first one, we have the present work analysis. In comparing alternatives by this method, determine the present worth of the net cash outflows for each alternative for the same period of time. The alternative with the least percent, so it says there, the alternative with the least present worth of cost is selected. Now let's solve the sample problem given in this handout. So the problem is, a company is considering 2 types of equipment for its manufacturing plant, and pertinent data are as follows. Now, these are the 2 equipment. We have the type A and the type B. For type A, we have the first cost, 200,000 pesos. The annual operating cost, which is 32,000 pesos. The annual labor cost, which is 50,000 pesos. Insurance and property taxes is 3%. Payroll taxes is 4%. And estimated life is 10 years. For type B, we have the first cost as 300,000 pesos. Annual operating cost of 24,000 pesos. Annual labor cost of 32,000 pesos. Insurance and property taxes, 3%. Payroll taxes, 4%. Estimated life is 10 years. If the minimum required rate of return is 15%, which equipment should be selected? Use present work cost method. So, by using the present cost method, all we need to do is to compare all these alternatives by getting the present worth of all cost. So we have here, obviously the first cost here is already in the present worth. So there's no need to solve for that. What we will be solving or convert into present worth will be the annual operating cost, the annual labor cost, the insurance, property taxes, the payroll taxes. Okay. Now let's solve for type A first. So for type A, we have the, since they are all in the annual, we are taking them yearly, then might as well get the annual costs. And we will exclude the depreciation here. Excluding depreciation. So we have the annual operating cost of 32,000 plus the 50,000 labor cost plus the insurance and property taxes. To what will you apply the 3% for the insurance and property taxes? It will be on the first cost, investment. So that is 200,000 times 0.03. How about the payroll taxes of 4%? That is payroll. So that will be in the labor cost. So we have here plus 50,000 times 0.04. So we are comparing here type A and type B. Okay. So this is equal to the annual cost is now equal to 90,000 pesos. Therefore, if we solve for the present worth, we have here the first cost of 200,000 plus, since this is already annuity, so that is annuity, we will use the formula for annuity. We have there 90,000. 1 plus I here is 0.15. How many years? We have there 10 years. Minus 1. Over. Since we are computing for the present, that will be over 1 plus 0.15 raised to 10 times 0.15. Remember, in annuity, this is the formula for the present worth. So what's the answer for the present worth here? Its present worth is 651,689.18. So that is the present worth of type A. How about type B? For type B, we have the annual costs. So excluding depreciation. So we have it here as 24,000 for the annual operating cost, 32,000 for the annual labor cost. So we have here 24,000 plus 32,000. Next, we have there 3% for the insurance and property taxes, while payroll is 4%. So for the insurance, we will have the first cost here is 300,000. So we will multiply it with 300,000 times 0.03 for the insurance plus the payroll percent there. So we have their payroll taxes. This 4%, it will be in the labor cost. So annual cost here in type B is 66,280 pesos. Therefore, present worth is now equal to first cost plus the annuity. The present worth formula for annuity, 66,280. This is annual labor cost. 1 plus 0.15 raised to 10 minus 1 over 1 plus 0.15 raised to 10 times 0.15. Therefore, present worth for type B is 632,689 643.98 pesos. So from the two, comparing the two, the type A and the type B, you can see that use the one who has, according to the lecture, the least present worth of cost is selected. So the least is type B. So this is the answer. Use type B. So this is for the first question. Okay, screenshot the problem and the solution. Okay. Now next, let's go to the after present worth, we now have the annual worth analysis. To apply this method, the annual cost of the alternatives, including interest on investment, so all the annual costs of the alternatives, including interest on investment, is determined. The alternative with the least annual cost is chosen. This pattern, like the rate of return on additional investment, applies only to alternatives which has a uniform cost data for each year and a single investment of capital at the beginning of the first year of the project life. So let's have the sample problem. It's the same. A company is considering two types of equipment for its manufacturing plant, and here are the following data. So it's the same from the previous example, but here, if the minimum required rate of return is 15%, which equipment should be selected? Use annual cost method. So in this part here, we will be using the annual cost method. So for type A, for annual cost, we need to convert so there's no problem with this one, no problem, it's already in annual cost. This one is already in annual cost. What's needed as other data here is convert the first cost into annual. Now to do that, remember that the formula for annuity, for the present worth, this is PW, is equal to the annuity. 1 plus 0.15 raised to 10 minus 1. Over 1 plus 0.15 raised to 10 times 0.15. So annuity now here is equal to 9850.41 pesos. So I used direct calculation here. So this is actually the depreciation. Oh, so we're not going to use for the present worth, but if we are depreciating it according to the definition, we are to depreciate the amount. Therefore, all we need to do is find the annuity minus 1 over the 0.15. So this is the formula for future worth annuity. We're actually looking for the depreciation. So we get here A is equal to 9850.41 pesos. So this is the depreciation cost. So we'll have here, tabulate it as depreciation, and that is equal to 9850.41 We have the operation cost. Where is it? So annual operating cost. We have there 32,000. Then the labor cost of 50,000. Taxes and insurance. And that is 200,000 times 0.03 is equal to 6,000 pesos. Payroll taxes, that is equal to 50,000 times 0.04, that is 2,000 pesos. And what is different here for the annual word is that it includes the interest on investment is included. So interest on investment. So we have here interest on investment. That is equal to 200,000 times 0.15. That is equal to 30,000 pesos. Take the sum of this. 9,850, 0.41, 32,000, 50,000, 6,000, 2,000. Then we have the 30,000. So we have here total annual cost is equal to 129,850.41 pesos. That is for type A. Now let's go to the type B. Again, for type B, we have here the annual costs. Then we will just convert this first cost into annual cost. So type B. For type B, we have here 300,000, but we will use the future word of annuity so as to solve for the depreciation. 1 plus 0.15, okay, so 10 minus 1 all over 0.15. So A here is 14,775.62 pesos. So that is depreciation. Depreciation is equal to 14775.62. Operation. So we have there. So we have operation, annual operating cost, 24,000, annual labor is 32. So that is 24,000. Labor cost is 32,000. Tax and insurance, that is equal to the first cost multiplied with the 3% in tax and insurance. So that is equal to 9,000 pesos. Then we have the payroll taxes. That is equal to the first cost multiplied with the 4%. That is equal to 1,280 pesos. And then for the annual word, we have the interest on investment. That is equal to the first cost multiplied with 0.15. And then we have 45,000 pesos. Therefore, we now have total annual cost is equal to 126,055.62 pesos. Now from the two alternatives, which one to be chosen? The least annual cost is chosen. So according to the least annual cost. So the least annual cost between these two is type B. So that's for the second sample problem. Next, so after annual worth analysis, we have the rate of return method. The rate of return on the capital invested is given by the formula rate of return is equal to net annual profit over capital invested. Rate of return is a measure of the effectiveness of an investment of capital. It is a financial efficiency. When this method is used, it is necessary to decide whether the computed ROR is sufficient to justify the investment. The advantage of this method is that it is easily understood by management and investors. The applications of the ROR method is controlled by the following conditions: a single investment of capital at the beginning of the first year of the project life, and identical revenue and cost data for each year. The capital invested is the total amount of capital investment required to finance the project, whether equity or borrowed. Rate of return on additional investment analysis. The formula for rate of return on additional investment is rate of return on additional investment is equal to annual net savings over additional investment. If the rate of return on additional investment is satisfactory, then the alternative requiring the bigger investment is more economical and should be chosen. Okay, so this portion here will decide which alternative is better. It says here, for the rate of return on additional investment, which we will use for the problem, is that if the rate of return is satisfactory, meaning that the computed ROR is greater than the ROR required, then we will have the alternative requiring bigger investment to be chosen. So the alternative requiring a bigger investment is more economical. Okay, so let's have the sample problem. Again, it's still the same. A company is considering two types of equipment for its manufacturing plant, and here are the datas. And if the minimum required rate of return, so this is the required rate of return, 15%, which equipment should be selected? Use rate of return on additional investment method. Okay? So again, this is actually similar with annual worth. So I'm already telling the class that it is similar with the annual cost, but the only difference from the annual cost is that we will not be including the interest on investment. So the interest of investment will not be included in computation for ROR. Okay. So again, just like we did previously, we'll compute type A and type B. For type A, we have the depreciation cost. So we have the 200,000 is equal to A. So we did this previously. 0.15 raised to 10 minus 1 all over 0.15. Therefore, the depreciation is equal to, so A is equal to 9,850.41. So depreciation is 9,850.41. Then we have the operating cost, that is 32,000 for type A. Then we have the labor cost, that will be 50,000 pesos. Taxes and insurance, that is 200,000 times 0.03, that is equal to 6%. Then payroll taxes, for payroll taxes, that is equal to 200,000 times 0.04. So 200,000 times, not 200,000, it's 50,000. Sorry about that. It's 50,000 because we are taking the labor. We're talking about labor. So 50,000. So that is 2,000. Therefore, we have total annual cost is now equal to 99,850.41 pesos. Then we have type B. For type B, solving for depreciation, we have 300,000 is equal to annuity 1 plus 0.15 raised to the life of 10 divided by 1.15. Therefore, we have A here, the depreciation as 14,775.62. So depreciation now is equal to 14,775.62. We have operation. The operation here and the labor is 2432. 24,000 and then labor is 32. Then we have taxes and insurance. So the first cost multiplied with 3%. So we have here 9,000 pesos. Then we have the payroll taxes. Equal to 32,000 for the labor cost multiplied with 0.04, that is equal to 1,280. So total annual cost is so we have 81,055.62. Then from the definition, we have the annual net savings. So annual savings 99,000 99,850.41 minus 81,055.62, and the answer here is 18,794.79. Then additional investment. How much money should be added to the lesser alternative to become the greater alternative? So we have here annual, so additional investment. So additional investment is equal to 300,000 minus 200,000. That is equal to 100,000. Now next, we have the rate of return, formula for rate of return on additional investment. That's equal to net savings, annual savings, 18,794.79 all over the 100,000. And the answer here is 18.79%. So the rate of return on additional investment is 18.79%, which is greater than 15%. So yes, it is justified. But the question here is which of the alternative, type A or type B, to be chosen? Now it says here, if the rate of return, so if the rate of return on additional investment is satisfactory, which we did, is satisfactory, then the alternative requiring bigger investment is more economical and to be chosen. So the one with the bigger or biggest investment here is the type. So type A has an initial investment of 200,000, B is 300,000. Therefore, use type B. So the type B should be chosen. So that's for the third sample problem. Next sample problem, this will become the fourth one. An investment of 270,000 can be made in a project that will produce a uniform annual revenue of 185,400 pesos for 5 years and then have a salvage value of 10% of the investment. Out-of-pocket costs for operation and maintenance will be 81,000 pesos per year. Taxes and insurance will be 4% of the first cost per year. The company expects capital to earn not less than 25% before income taxes. Is this a desirable investment? Compute using the present worth, annual worth, and rate of return. So we're not considering any alternative here. We have only one. Now the question there is if the investment is desirable. Let's solve. So actually, since this one has this is only one alternative, what we will compare here will be the cash inflow and the cash outflow in order for us to see if this is a good investment. So we will compare the cash inflow and the cash outflow. Okay. For the cash flow diagram, you notice there's a salvage value, so annual revenue. So we have here the cash flow diagram of cash inflows. So this is year 0. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 years here. Okay, so since we are dealing with cash inflow, so we will use an upward arrow, and that will be an annuity of 185,400 pesos. Then, it says there, another inflow is a salvage value. Now, when we say salvage value, it is the last worth of the equipment or anything. So, it is the value that you can still gain at the end of the life period. So, we have here a salvage value of 27,000 pesos. Now, what we will do here, in order to get the present worth of the cash inflows, is that we will have the first computation for present worth and the second computation of present worth here. So this is P1 and then this is P2. P1 for the annuity, P2 is the future worth salvage value. Okay. So for present worth of cash inflow, that is equal to P1 is 185,400 1 plus 0.25 raised to 5 minus 1 all over 1.25 raised to 5 times 0.25. Then we have here plus the present worth of the salvage value. That is 27. So how much was that? 27,000. Okay, that's correct. So 27,000 all over of 1 plus 0.25 raised to 5. So what is present worth of cash inflow? So that is 507,439.87. So that is for cash inflow. How about for cash outflow? for cash outflows. Again, this is year 0. And then we'll divide it for 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we have here is let's compute for the annual cost. Because how many annual costs do we have? We have the out-of-pocket cost and operation maintenance with 81,000 per year. Then we have the taxes and insurance. So let's compute for that. So annual cost excluding depreciation. It is equal to 81,000 plus the first cost multiplied with the percent. Again, what is this 4% here? Taxes and insurance will be 4% of the first cost per year. So this is equal to 91,800. So A is equal to 91,800. Then, from here, we will convert it into present. But, it seems that there's already P here. What is that P? It is P is equal to 270,000 pesos. Then, here is your P3. Now, PW, or present worth of cash outflow is equal to 270,000 plus the annual cost here a while ago, and then we will convert that into present. So that is 91,800 times 1 plus 0.25 raised to 5 minus 1 all over 1 plus 0.25 raised to 5 times 0.25. So the answer here is 516,875.9 pesos. So for the present worth of cash inflow, it's 507. For present worth of cash outflow is 516,875. Since the present worth for cash outflow is bigger than the present worth of cash inflow is smaller. So does it mean that we will choose this immediately? Let's go back to the definition. Present worth. Choose the one with the least present worth selected. But this is there is no two alternatives here. So what we will do is what we will do is to get the net cash flow. Present worth of net cash flow. We are actually determining if the investment is justifiable. So let's use this formula. Present worth of net cash flow is equal to present worth of cash inflow so we have present worth of cash inflow minus present worth of cash outflow. So we will use this formula. That is equal to, previously we have the cash inflow of 507,439.87 minus the present worth of cash outflows, which is 516,875.9. So the answer here is negative 9,436.3. So, this is, since cash flow is less than 0, the investment is not justified. So let's write that. Since present worth of the net cash flows is less than 0, then the investment is not justified. So that's for the fourth sample problem. This is actually the answer, because it's asking if the investment is justified. Now let's go to the next example, number 5. An investment, same problem, an investment 270,000 also, but this time we will solve for the annual worth method. Let's go back again to the annual worth method. So to apply this method, the annual cost of the alternatives, including interest on investment, is determined. And then you will choose the least annual costs. But since we are dealing with only one problem here and there is no two alternatives, we will just compare the cash inflow and cash outflow by subtracting cash outflow to the cash inflow. The answer is negative, then if the answer is negative, then the cash flow is not justified. If it is greater than 0 or that is positive, then the investment is justified. Okay, so let's solve the annual worth. For annual worth, again, let's have the cash inflow. Okay, let's make it bigger. Yeah. For cash inflow, so let's have the cash flow diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So inflow, we have annuity of 185,400. How about the salvage value? Because automatically from this, you can see that the annual worth for cash inflow is already 185,000. Annual cash inflow is equal to 185,400. The salvage value will be deducted from the first cost, and then we will compute for the depreciation. So for annual cash outflow, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So previously, we were able to solve here an annual cost of 91,800 pesos a while ago. Here, we were able to solve this as 91,800 by computing the annual costs excluding depreciation. Now what's next is that from note 4, including interest on investment is determined. So in interest on investment, so let's have this here. Is the first cost, which is 270,000. This is actually I. Let's put here I. 220,000 multiplied with 0.25. So I is now equal to 67,500. So aside from A, we also have here the value for I. So we have here I is equal to 67,500. Then here, this portion, we have the first cost minus the salvage value. We have 270,000 minus the salvage value of 27,000. So P minus SB is 243,000. Okay. So from that 243,000, we will compute for the depreciation. Find the annuity. We have there 1 plus 0.25 raised to 5 minus 1 all over. So since we are using depreciation, 0.25 outside. So A now is equal to 29,608.76 pesos. So that is for the additional. Okay. Therefore, our annual cash outflow is equal to 91,800 plus 67,500 plus 29,608.76. So this is now equal to this is 188,908.76. So we now have the cash outflow and then cash so we have here the annual cash inflow, then annual cash outflow. So A, annual worth of net cash flow is equal to annual worth of cash inflow minus annual worth of cash outflow. So that is equal to 185,400 minus 188,908.76. That is equal to negative or so negative 3,508.76. Therefore, if this is the answer here, negative, since annual worth of the net cash flows is less than 0, then the investment is not justified. So this is actually the answer. So this is for the 5th example. So you can get the screenshot of the problem and the solution. Last, we have the ROR, the rate of return method. Same problem, but this time the rate of return. Again, this is similar with the annual worth, but the one missing is the interest on capital. So for annual cash inflow, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cash inflow yearly, A is equal to 185,400. Okay, so that is there. Then, so annual cash inflow is equal to 185,400. For the annual cash outflow, okay, there we have it, the drawing. cash flow diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have the yearly cost, which we were able to compute a while ago as A is equal to 91,800. Then no more interest on investment. Then what we have here, is P minus SV, that is equal to 270,000 minus salvage value of 27,000. Therefore, this is 243,000. So there is no interest on investment. Then therefore we will solve for the depreciation. The depreciation of 240,000 is equal to the annuity 1 plus 0.25 raised to 5 minus 1 all over. So since we are using the depreciation here, so this is all over 0.25. So it was in the future work. So again, this is A is equal to 29,608.76. So annual cash outflow is equal to 91,800 plus 29,608.76. That is equal to 121,408.76. So we have here net annual profit, or is equal to annual cash inflow minus the annual cash outflow. That is equal to 185,400 minus 121,408.76. So the answer here is 63,991.24 pesos. So ROR now from the formula. So what we did is we get the net annual profit divided by the capital invested. So ROR is 63,991.24 divided by the capital invested of 270,000 times 100. And that is equal to 23.7%. Sorry. It's 23.7%. Now, this is less than the expected 25%, since it says there the company expects capital to earn not less than 25% before income taxes. So this is less than 25%. So is this justifiable? Since the ROR is less than expected, the investment is not justified. So that's for ROR. Now, this is different to the previous example for ROR a while ago because what we are dealing here is a singular project. There is no other alternative. It's only one. Whereas the previous ROR, we are having two alternatives. So we need to compare the two alternatives. So we use the rate of return on additional investment, and the alternative requiring a bigger investment is more economical if ROR is satisfactory. Okay, so that ends this video.